So when Jesus was here, the guy thought that the platform was finished, but I guess not.
The platform still is being worked on. Now this part of the platform was finished 6 AD, 20 BC to 6 AD. But in a zealot revolt in 6 AD, they set this building on fire and it had to be rebuilt. This is the building with the buying and selling. Any shop that touches this platform is priestly property. If you buy your sacrifice in the city, it costs 1 shekel for a turtle dove. If you buy it in the temple platform, it costs 10 shekels. Why would anyone buy it in the city? Because if you don't have a band on the leg, turtle dove, showing you bought it from a priest's shop, they won't accept it. So you see the corruption here. Now this is the shop building. It's 3 stories high. You see the upper story, a middle story where these pilasters are, these vertical columns on the outside, the pillars. And there's a basement structure just inside the doors. That is the shops. That's where Jesus turned the money-changing tables over upon entering the temple platform. The priests were so greedy, this does not show it, but under that stairway there, and on the left, underneath that stairway were shops also, because the back touched the temple platform. How many shops can we have? And so the people can only buy from us. If you raise turtle doves, if you're a shepherd, you're supposed to give the first of your flock to the Lord. You cannot bring your sheep. You have to buy it from a priest shop. Jews in Jesus' day have a love-hate relationship for the temple, as you should have for your denomination. You love what it stands for. You hate the way politics gets into religion. Pilate appoints the chief priestly offices by the amount of money he receives. So the Romans encouraged this priestly corruption. Who are the chief priestly families? The richest ones. Unlike many commentaries, and I'm sorry it was also pictured in the Gibson film, which did have some good points, it is not thousands of people yelling, "Crucify him," responsible for Jesus' death. How our leaders and chief priests had him put to death.
Barbara explained better how this common misunderstanding took place.
We have the idea that all the Jews everywhere screamed and yelled and said, "Crucify him." And that the daughters of Jerusalem, that the women went out, were weeping for him. And this is a misunderstanding. It's Yehudim. It is not all the Jews. It is only the Jews in Judea. It took place here. And it's not the Galilean Jews, not diaspora Jews, not anybody else but Judean Jews involved, the people around Jerusalem. And when we say the daughters of Jerusalem are weeping for Jesus, we do not mean the women. And the word for multitudes, very, very much misunderstood. Multitude is oklos. Oklos is singular, okloi is plural. And the writer in Hebrew was looking for a plural word to match it. It's okloi in Greek, and so it says multitudes. Well, the word only means those who are there. And so what we have translated is multitudes were asking for Jesus' crucifixion. And it's a distorted picture. It's only those who were there who were asking. And who was there with the high priest? A delegation of the Sanhedrin who wanted Jesus put to death. The high priest makes 70. So 3 courts of 23 should come out to 69. Any one of those 23, those singular courts, can ask for the death penalty. So if there are only 23 people assembled to hear Jesus at the mock trials, then there's not very many. And if all 23 of those people went to ask for the crucifixion, the most you'd have there would be 23 people.
Who are your best guess for who was outside Pilate's palace yelling, "Crucify him"? Owners of these overturned tables. Do you remember John's Gospel has the daughters of Jerusalem yelling Hosanna on Palm Sunday? And Luke's Gospel has the daughters of Jerusalem crying on Good Friday. It means the poor. Remember we talked about that at Megiddo? Who's on the Mount of Olives? The poor villages outside Jerusalem. The daughters yelling Hosanna. Who's crying? The daughters outside the second wall of the place of crucifixion. Who's yelling, "Crucify him"? The district of Pilate's palace. What do our books say? What happened to the crowds on Palm Sunday? That they became turncoats and yelled, "Crucify him" on Good Friday. The same daughters crying on Palm Sunday are weeping on Good Friday. And most major denominations the last 40 years have published documents saying it's wrong to say the crowds of Jerusalem said, "Crucify him." tragedy is this: Gibson is a Tridentine Catholic against all the reforms of Vatican II, and therefore he had a pre-Vatican II, the view of many denominations before the 1950s. Passion plays of the past have all of Jerusalem yelling "Crucify him." Gibson's natural inclination, being a pre-Vatican II Catholic, is to do it like passion plays of the past.